You're listening to the Tales of Leadership podcast. This podcast is for leaders at any phase on their leadership journey to become a more purposeful and accountable leader, what I like to call a pal. Join me on our journey together towards transformational leadership. All right, team, welcome back to the Tales of Leadership podcast. I'm your host, Josh McMillion, an active duty Army officer and the founder of McMillion Leadership Coaching, and I'm on a mission to create a better leader, what I like to call a purposeful, accountable leader, or a PAL. And my vision is to impact 1 million lives in the next 10 years by promoting transformational stories and skills. And on today's episode, I'm going to be bringing you a transformational story, sharing with you 6 ways leaders can lose at the Summit Leadership, which is the 6th phase of leadership. And make sure that you go look at some of the additional resources that I have. Go to McMillionLeadershipCoaching.com. Look me up on Instagram, Josh McMillion _ at McMillion Leadership, and you'll be able to go to my link tree. And in my link tree, you'll see Tales of Leadership blog, or you'll go to McMillionLeadershipCoaching.com in the top right, click on the blog, and you'll be able to find this episode. Every single time that I don't have a guest on and I go over a transformational leadership skill with you or share leadership content with you, there is always a blog post accompanying it. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this episode. All right, team, we finally arrived at the final phase of leadership, which I call Summit Leadership. And achieving success in any phase of leadership is no small feat. But most people will never reach this level of leadership. But a leader must be devoted to growth to achieve the summit. As a note, I understand that I am nowhere near Summit Leadership still. I take purposeful action each day to continue to build my leadership bridge, and one day I hope to achieve it. And as a note, my family and I are in the middle of a PCS move. We're moving from Alabama to Virginia. So if you hear a bunch of crazy background noise, know that we are in temporary lodging until August the 22nd. So I'll be in a hotel room / apartment for the next month trying to run a podcast. And that's just part of being an Army officer, which I absolutely love the chaos because it makes me resilient. But if you hear anything in the background, all those crazy noises, that is what it is. But back to the podcast. So Summit Leadership is challenging because it takes consistent effort, accountability, and extreme discipline throughout a leader's life. Leaders who succeed at the summit create organizations that change their industry and the world. And one clear example of a leader who has achieved Summit Leadership that I think of is Elon Musk. And love him or hate him, he is the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and several other prominent companies. Musk is a visionary leader and relentlessly pursues ambitious goals, having results in groundbreaking advancements in electrical vehicles, renewable energy, and space exploration and transportation. Your legacy is galvanized by the consistent action of leaders you have developed over a compounding effect of time, and then the decisions that you consistently make. So before we jump into the 6 ways you can lose at Summit Leadership, here's a quote by John Maxwell. It's ironic, but one of the greatest dangers of pinnacle leadership at the top is similar to a downside for positional leaders at the bottom, thinking they've arrived. So the first way that you can lose at Summit Leadership is losing curiosity, a loss of curiosity. Leadership is an endless exploration. And at the moment we believe we've reached the pinnacle of knowledge, growth grinds to a halt. When leaders are convinced that they have mastered their craft, that is precisely the time that they should consider stepping down. We must grasp that there are always valuable lessons and wisdom awaiting to be acquired and shared with others. And it doesn't matter where we are. The danger arises when we close ourselves off to those new ideas by presuming we have all the answers. And trust me, people around us will notice the transformation and it will not go unnoticed. A vital truth has illuminated the past 15 years of my leadership journey. Profound lessons often emerge from the unlikeliest of sources. Irrespective of rank or authority, we must acknowledge that we are not always the brightest ones in the room. While we may have triumphed over personal trials, others harbor powerful perspectives on the challenges of today. Sustained growth as a leader necessitates attentive listening to every individual within our organization, for our challenges will only intensify as we continue to grow. As tasks grow in complexity, they demand innovation and nimble thinking, not stagnant minds on our teams. Guard against the transitional trap of presuming you hold all the solutions. Purposeful, accountable leaders, or PALs, maintain an unwavering curiosity and relentlessly seek creative solutions to the problems at hand. And here's a quote that I've kind of created. By embracing unwavering curiosity, PALs carve a path that sets them apart from the pack, unlocking new horizons, growth, and innovation. The next way that you can lose at summit leadership is believing or giving into the hype. Once leaders listen to the crowd and believe the hype, they are destined for failure. That is the moment where you start to decline. The ego is a powerful force. Assuming you are the center of attention causes entitlement. And when you're given into the noise, you lose sight of the path and begin to develop transitional habits. And that's exactly what I'm trying to fight against. In the book, How the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins, he states most leaders fall because they have developed an entitled mindset bolstered by arrogance. Success is never guaranteed. Failure results if you believe you will continue to win without putting your nose to the grindstone. Individuals that want to be around you when times are great are often scarce when times get hard. Remember that. As you progress on your leadership journey, maintain relationships with individuals that share your core values, share your purpose, share your passion, and help you ignite your passion. Stop and remember that you have not arrived when the noise becomes noticeable. Success is not guaranteed. You cannot overcome other challenges if you lose sight of your burning desire or your why or your passion that keeps you going and keeps you, more importantly, growing. Purposeful, accountable leaders block out the noise, surround themselves with individuals they trust, and improve each day. And here is a little bonus. And these are the top 5 toxic habits leaders fall into when the spotlight becomes too bright. The first one is neglecting core values. Leaders may gradually deviate from their core values as they become more influential and try to seek out more popular and accolades, seeking immediate approval from the crowd rather than focusing on the long-term sustainable success and impactful outcomes. Number 3 is losing focus on the vision. When leaders become consumed by the crowd's noise, their vision clarity can diminish. They may start to veer off course and lose sight of their original purpose and the strategic direction they initially set themselves and their organizations on. Number 4 is over promising and under delivering. When you give into the hype, you're going to fall trap to this by making promises to try to appease the crowd without adequately considering the feasibility or the long-term implications. This habit can lead to a lack of follow-through, which at the end of the day erodes your trust and your credibility over time. And the 5th one is disregarding diverse perspectives. Leaders may dismiss or disregard alternative points of views that challenge the prevailing narrative by excessively valuing the crowd's opinion. This transitional habit can limit innovation and stifle creativity in any organization, preventing leaders from making well-rounded and informed decisions. All right, team, let's take a quick break from this episode, and I want to share a message from McMillion Leadership Coaching, a company that I founded. So what do? I help leaders discover their purpose, create long-term growth plans, and take inspired action. I believe everything rises and falls on leadership. Regardless of where you are in life, one fact is true. You are a leader of others, your family, and most importantly, yourself. To lead others well starts with you. Stop surviving and start thriving in life. Here's 3 easy steps to get started. Go to McMillionLeadershipCoaching.com and schedule a call today. It's free. You have nothing to lose. Number 2, start the 100-day leadership challenge. And then number 3, simply grow your leadership. We all have greatness inside, but it's up to us to forge those abilities. Become the leader your team needs. Back to the podcast. So the next way that you can lose at Summit Leadership, number 3, is the complacency trap. Success breeds complacency, and that's a fact. As a purposeful, accountable leader, you have no place for that word in your vocabulary. In the military, 2 moments of any operation are the most dangerous times. And the first is at the beginning, when the environment is unknown and you're adapting to the stimuli around you. You face new challenges and you learn how to overcome those challenges. Very similar to what I'm doing right now, starting a new job. And to be vulnerable with you, I really don't know what that entails. And yes, I'm nervous. And it doesn't matter how many times I start a new job, I will always be nervous. But that is a good thing, because that means I'm not complacent, and that means I'm hungry to continue to succeed and thrive as an Army officer. You face new challenges and learn how to overcome those. I like to call this being switched on or in the zone. The second most dangerous time is the end of an operation, when complacency kills. When you can see the finish line, it's easy to take your foot off the gas, opening up vulnerabilities. Creating vulnerabilities allows smoke to form into fires, and if unchecked, those fires can rage out of control. The same is true in any leadership position. The moment you become complacent is the moment you will lose. Remember, leadership is a journey, not a destination. You must not lose sight of where you're going. Maybe that means your vision is just too small and you're becoming complacent. That's when you have to shift and create a BBV, a big, bold vision. A big, bold vision that is so ambitious, it scares you and helps you to avoid complacency. Another critical aspect of complacency is losing your ability to be humble. Humility is absolutely vital, regardless of the phase you find yourself in as a leader. Humility is what binds relationships and allows leaders to connect authentically. Believing results will naturally happen and not being grateful for others' hard work is the fastest way to erode relationships. Purposeful, accountable leaders or pals are thankful for others on their team and remove complacency from the equation. And here's another quote: complacency is a treacherous snare that over time constricts our potential, suffocating the flames of growth and hindering the realization of our true capability. So the next way that you can lose at the Summit Leadership is fear of losing. And this is true at any phase. It doesn't matter, but it is the most devastating at the 6th phase or Summit Leadership. Leaders achieving the 6th phase of leadership have much on the line and could cause self-sabotaging behaviors to begin to creep in. If you fear losing what you have earned, you are unwilling to take calculated risks and as a result, kill momentum. Failure to be decisive and take risks towards bold action will cause you to lose more in the process. The first is relationships. By becoming indecisive, you are eroding the trust you have earned over time, resulting in a loss of respect. Once an organization stops respecting the leader, they stop listening. Remember, people do not follow titles, they follow people. The second is identity. If you believe you have more to lose than to gain, you have become a toxic leader. Toxic leaders hold on to power. They create organizational walls and they halt traction because of inefficiencies and bottlenecks. And third is losing sight of oneself also leads to rewriting one's legacy. It's critical to remember the power of T-BALL. It's an acronym that our thoughts shape our beliefs, which drives our actions, ultimately defining our legacy. So thoughts shape our beliefs, they drive our actions, and our actions defines our legacy. Purposeful, accountable leaders or PALs are transformational thinkers, unwavering in their commitment, regardless of what stakes are on the line. They're not afraid to lose. They're not afraid of fear. And here is a bonus for you. And these are the top 3 beliefs about why leaders at the summit fear losing. And I think number 1 is a loss of status or perceived prestige. When leaders achieve a certain level of success, they often develop a fear of losing because they have grown accustomed to the recognition, status, and prestige that comes with their accomplishments. The thought of losing this elevated position and the associated privilege can trigger a sense of insecurity and anxiety. Number 2 is risk aversion and comfort zone. Success can breed a sense of comfort and complacency. And again, remember, complacency kills. Leaders may hesitate to take risks or venture into new territories because they fear jeopardizing what they've already gained. The fear of losing what you've worked so hard to achieve can lead to a reluctance in stepping outside your comfort zone and exploring new growth opportunities. Remember the complacency trap that we just went over. And then number 3 is a loss of identity and reputation. A leader's identity and reputation often intertwine with success. They may fear that losing their success will result in a tarnished reputation or diminished self-worth. The fear of losing what they have accomplished can lead to a reluctance to take bold action or make necessary changes in their lives, as they perceive those risks as potential threats to their identity and the reputation. So here is number 5 on ways that you can lose at summit leadership. Stop investing in others. In your leadership journey, one truth remains consistent. Relationships matter. Doesn't matter what phase you're on or where you're at in life, relationships are critical. To cultivate authentic relationships, consistently invest in them over time. One-off interactions are insufficient. You need ongoing touch points with your team. As you ascend in your leadership positions and hold more title and more rank, investing in others becomes increasingly vital. As responsibilities grow and time becomes scarce, don't forget that success stems from the collective effort, not just your own. Amidst the whirlwind of expanding responsibilities, it's easy to lose focus. However, this is precisely when creating touch points becomes critical. Allocate time for your team development, whether walking and having conversations with individuals in your organization, holding purposeful meetings for feedback, or engagement in a one-on-one mentorship session. It doesn't matter. How you authentically spend time with others is your choice. Remember, the organization emulates the leader's behavior, and the shared values that lead to your success are even more critical at the top. Everyone is observing you. So it's a fact that purposeful, accountable leaders or PALs never cease investing in others, regardless of their position. And here's another quote. Just as a neglected and uninvested fruit tree withers and dies, leadership devoid of care and investment fails to bear the fruits of growth, development, and success. Now, the final way that you can lose at summit leadership is focusing on tactical decisions. Once you've arrived at summit leadership, your time should be exclusively focused on strategic level thinking. Focus on where the company is heading and its impacts outside of the workplace, the organization, and the impacts on the world. If you have led effectively, you have built leaders within your organization that operate with operational leadership intelligence. And go back and listen to a previous podcast to kind of understand the different levels of leadership intelligence, meaning they deliberately plan and ensure their team executes. If you spend time on tactical decisions that should be made at the individual level, you're losing sight of what's truly important. Occasionally, there will come a problem that your team cannot overcome, and that's okay. Those moments are where you apply the sledgehammer mentality and you come in, you break it. You break it down, you break the walls down, and you challenge your team after you've demolished that obstacle to build a system preventing that challenge from returning. But those occasions are rare, and you should do everything possible to avoid enabling your team. Allow them to have the opportunity to work through those problems. And only when it is immovable do you step in with your sledgehammer and begin to smash that wall or that obstacle. Side effects of tactical decision making can be catastrophic to the organization. You hamper mission command, you lose accountability within your team, and you gain a reputation of micromanagement. And who wants to be known as the micromanager leader? No one, right? Even at Summit Leadership, it is possible to ruin your reputation you have worked years to create. Do not let the pressures of your job cause you to question your team's ability. You have made it to this point in your career by being a transformational, not transactional leader. So here are my final thoughts on losing at Summit Leadership. So Summit Leadership is rare achievement on a leader's journey. While I haven't reached this level yet, I'm dedicated to pursuing it relentlessly. If you're already at the summit, be aware of those 6 pitfalls that I've just identified. Don't let the noise around you distract you or inflate your ego. Stay focused on your purpose and maintain a clear vision to avoid succumbing to fear or complacency. Keep investing your time and knowledge in others because that's what shapes your legacy. Above all, remain a lifelong learner. Summit leaders are committed, open to coaching, and fueled by curiosity. Remember, growth stops when learning stops. And here are 3 questions that I want you to spend some time reflecting on. Number 1 is, am I maintaining a sense of curiosity and openness to continue growing as a leader? Or have I fallen into the trap of thinking that I've already mastered everything? Number 2 is, am I investing enough time and effort in building and nurturing relationships with my team? Do I recognize the collective efforts that contribute to my success? And number 3, am I effectively balancing my focus between strategic thinking and tactical decision making? Am I empowering my team to handle operational decisions, or am I only intervening when absolutely necessary? Hey guys, do me a favor. If you like what you've heard from this podcast episode, I have a lot of additional leadership resources for you. And you can go to my Instagram, you can go to my Facebook page, all of my social media feeds, and you'll be able to find that by just clicking the leadership resources tab or my link tree. And as always, make sure you share this podcast. You give it a 5-star review, and then you support it. And you can find ways to support this show through the leadership resources tab under my link tree. I'm your host, Josh McMillion, saying every day is a gift. Don't waste yours. I'll see you next time.